tell us. So you've lived pretty long in Africa to have mastered all of these sicknesses.
And I worked there in the hospital, and I saw all these different people coming and people visiting us from abroad. And then we decided to go back to Holland because Uganda and Kenya, where we lived, gave some problems. So we decided to go back to Holland. And then I started looking for a new job, and so somebody asked me, would you like to help us at the Tropical Disease Department?
Yeah.
And I started off working half a day, and now it's 4 days a week, 3.5 days a week. Well, you know, the most beautiful thing there is we've got the most beautiful job, because you see all the people of the world, all the different people. Like, you know, in Amsterdam Southeast we have the Suriname, the Nigerians, Ghanaian, and so on and so on. And we see the Dutch, we see the famous Dutch, we see all kinds of people. And everybody has its own story. People go for fun, for holidays, some people who have to go back for a funeral. Everybody has its own story. That's nice. And the children, also going back with children who have never been there, or to show a newborn baby here, they have to show it in Africa. I'm always a bit concerned about the small ones which are being taken to Africa without anything. They are too small. So we can have a lot of talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. So how often do you see people traveling without trying to take some of this?
We see them a lot, especially when they return, and when they have a fever, they go to the general practitioner, and who sends them to us to do a blood check on malaria. And when you talk to them and you say, oh, what did you take for malaria tablet? Oh, I didn't take them, they were too expensive, I have forgotten, I didn't have time to go. But next time I'll never do it again because I'm feeling so sick. And then you are lucky you're in Holland, but supposing you get fever in Africa in a part where it's very hard to seek help. The roads are bad if it's in rainy season.
Yes, exactly.
And you might end up dead, because that's how serious it can be. And then for the grown-ups who were born and brought up there, they do have a wee bit of immunity from the time they live there. But for their children, they die. If there's no help in time, they die. And if it's a severe malaria, they can just die. And it's not like, oh, we see to it, it may be a small flu, tomorrow we'll seek help. It might be too late. So that's the risk. And that's how people end up coming back with problems, and then they say, oh yeah, next time I'll tell my family as well, I'll tell everybody we should go and seek pre-travel advice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, if you're out there and you are listening to this broadcast, we encourage you to give us a call right now on 020-737-1619. As a matter of fact, this is the right time for you to call, because it wouldn't be nice after the specialists have gone and then you begin to call me, because I'm not a medical personnel. So use this opportunity right now and get them and get the right information. Call them right now in the studio and ask any question that will be relevant to your child or to yourself. Now, would you tell us, tell our audience, what sort of immunization are very, very necessary, at least before one can embark on traveling to the tropics?
Well, to begin with, it's the yellow fever vaccination.
Yellow fever.
It's required for some countries in West Africa and in South America. And yellow fever is seen in West Africa, East Africa, but not so much anymore there. But people wanted to enter the country. You need a yellow booklet with the yellow fever vaccination. The vaccination is working 100%, it works very well, and it's valid for 10 years.
Yes.
But you need to prove it that you have the vaccination, so that's why you get a yellow book with the yellow fever stamp in it. That's the most important to enter the country.
Which country you mean?
Well, so for example, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Gambia, Tanzania, Uganda, or most of the sub-Saharan countries.
But the fact is, our people are they very really effective in checking some of these things, because I just came back from Nigeria and nobody asked me about that,
No.
even though I came to your office to take my immunization.
Yeah.
I don't think our people are so serious checking it this way. So if it is something very relevant, I think the authorities have to hear that they're supposed to control distance when people are coming in.
But when you are going to get a visa for a country, they normally ask you to bring your yellow fever passport.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's where it's been checked.
Oh,
Otherwise
okay.
you won't be able to enter the country.
Okay.
That's where it's checked.
Yeah.
And they should check it then.
It's very. Okay, so you've made mention of yellow fever, and then which other one?
And other one is, especially for children, is hepatitis A, especially when they go for a short stay, say about 3-4 weeks or a bit longer. Hepatitis A is a disease of the liver, and you can catch it by drinking contagious water, food. And all the people born and brought up in Africa, they suffered from the disease. Maybe they didn't even notice it when they were very young.
What? Hepatitis?
Hepatitis
I don't-
A.
Hepatitis A. So you said all the people in Africa. Is it research proven?
And the sex prevalence is the hepatitis B. You've got various variants of hepatitis,
Yes.
and the A is the one about hygiene and contagious food and water, and dirty toilets, ice creams taken from streets not
Yes.
being good, and food and fruits.
Yeah.
So for children, they don't get very sick of it, but when they come back to Holland and they bring the disease here,
Yes.
nobody here is vaccinated. And when you go to school, you contaminate all the people around it.
Wow.
And nobody is very happy with you then.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem. You sometimes hear from it about schools.
Yeah.
And people older than 10 years, they can get very sick from it. So the grown-ups, the teachers, and
Wow.
it's not good. And it's a nasty disease for people a bit older, for the
Really?
adolescent people, yeah. So it's wise to vaccinate, and that consists of 2 vaccinations, one say today, one after 6 months, and then it gives a protection for more than 25 years. So it's all long term.
Yeah.
If you do it now, you are protected for a long time.
So what you want our audience to hear right now is that when you take one vaccination or vaccine, when you take one injection, or if it is hepatitis A, you take it, and you take the next one after 6 months, then you have completed the dosage. Is that?
Then you have completed it, yes.
So that will last up to 25 years, you said?
More than 25 years, probably lifelong.
My God. So, I mean, how much can one pay for this sort of security?
Yeah, that's always good to do. It's always good for your health. And it prevents you from contamination of other people, and it protects yourself, so which is very important. And the liver is the most important organ of the body, so why shouldn't you prevent yourself from getting sick?
Exactly. Very, very important for us to know. So, you made mention that sometimes some of these kids come back here and they are probably healthy carriers of dysentery or malaria, only to come and affect the other pupil in the same school.
Yeah, that's hepatitis A only. That is contagious in the school.
Okay.
Malaria is a different disease. Malaria is a different disease. That one is transmitted by a mosquito.
Yes, exactly.
And you all know the mosquitoes, they come at around sunset, and they come in whole bunches, especially when it's rainy season. And you know it. And West Africa has almost invented, like we say, the malaria, because all the cases of malaria come from Africa. And
Really?
And you
But
know,
I've been seeing big, giant mosquitoes during this summer. Even last night I saw one, very big in my room. So they don't have malaria?
not in Holland. In Holland we don't have malaria, but in
No, the mosquitoes. It's
The
not,
mosquito?
yeah, what do they carry? Because every mosquito we know have malaria parasite.
yeah, can have.
Can have. Every mosquito.
They are
But only those ones here in Holland do not have. That's what you want us to know.
The mosquitoes in Holland don't have malaria.
What do they have?
The mosquitoes in Holland have none, but in Africa they can transmit malaria.
No, but I would like to know, what do the mosquitoes have? Because sometimes they will bite you and then you are having itchy.
That
The
is-
mosquitoes here.
The mosquitoes, what they do, bring you here. The mosquitoes here, they have a special fluid which can cause a red bump on a red
Yes.
dot on your arm, which is starting itching.
Yeah, exactly.
But that is all. And
Really?
it can some people do get very red spots.
Yeah.
But that is all. You don't get sick from it. It doesn't carry parasites. And the mosquito in Africa has the parasite which causes malaria. So that's a big difference.
Exactly.
That's a big difference.
And the reason is because of the hygienic condition.
The mosquito breeds in water. Like you know, in Africa you find all these truck bands, the rubber things with a bit of water.
Ties.
Yeah.
The ties of a
The tires, the big tires, where some water is in there, and that's where they breed in. The female mosquitoes put their eggs in, and then all the other ones come out. So it's good to have no water around the house in cups and saucers and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the rainy season you find a lot of mosquitoes. And when those mosquitoes, they are active during night time. So when you're asleep, it's always important to have a bed net or have the windows screened of the house and the doors closed so that the mosquitoes don't come in. And if you happen to catch malaria, when they bite you, you might start getting a fever after about 10 days. That is possible. And they attack the red blood cells.
Yes.
And so you can get very sick. And when you think, I'll wait till tomorrow, I'll wait to go to the doctor, or I'll wait, it can cause a very severe malaria attack which goes to the brains, and then that is always very, very bad.
Yes, continue please.
So you should be aware of the malaria, and you can always get malaria even if you take the medication, but it prevents you from getting the severe malaria. So
We're having a caller here. Hello, caller. Yes, please. So you are saying that what the specialist is talking about is very important. Okay, so you used to run around because of mosquito bites here in Southeast. Yeah, because we didn't really hear you very well. That's why I'm repeating it. So now, through the information she's passing, you've come to realize that there is no need for you to be afraid, since the mosquitoes in Holland don't carry malaria parasite.
Yeah.
Really? Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for listening too. Well, that is a reaction. So, thank you for calling us, caller, and we hope to hear from many more people. You see, you are encouraging the people because I'm looking at you, and then you may be wondering, why is she fixing her eyes so much on me? Because you tend to know Africa more than me.
Africa is very nice. The only thing is it has some diseases, it has some problems.
Right.
It has some problems.
Yeah. So, you said that you were going to talk about malaria. What?
Malaria, yeah.
Yes. Would you please throw a little bit light on that area
Malaria.
and how dangerous it is to the life of a child?
For children, it's especially very dangerous. That's why we really insist people, even if they don't want to take tablets themselves to prevent it from getting malaria, that please do let the children or the babies take malaria prophylaxis tablets or capsules especially. The malaria is a disease, well, as I told you, transmitted by mosquitoes. And it's the female mosquito. If a mosquito bites you, they can in a bite they can put parasites which go through your blood vessels. The parasites go to the liver, and there they develop, and then they come into the blood, and that causes you the feeling of sickness, a kind of flu-like, a headache, a bit of fever, sometimes a bit of diarrhea. And as soon as you experience those things, you should immediately seek help, especially to always do a test on malaria, a blood test. The difficulty with children is, small children, they can't say how they feel.
Yes.
And you have to see that a child is not feeling well, or feel that a child is having a fever. And sometimes, as you know, children have a fever very quickly. But when you are in Africa and one of your children gets a fever, you should immediately go to a doctor. It's better to test in vain that nothing is wrong.
Yeah.
And then you don't do the test and the child happens to have malaria. Because you know, a lot of children living in Africa, in West Africa, they die of malaria because the treatment is not available like we have here. The test methods are different from Holland. We have well-equipped material, and in Africa it's not always available there.
Hello, caller. Right.
Apart from the malaria tablet, I want to know from the doctor, is there any special food FOOD, which you can take, can also take place of the malaria tablet? If there is some, then you know.
Yes, thank you so much for calling.
That is a very good question. We get often these questions, can you do anything else to take, but for example, vitamin B or garlic? As you know, we are an academic hospital. We are only scientific things we do, and it's never tested that you can prevent catching malaria from food or other things. It's only the tablets you should take, and you can prevent mosquito bites by using anti-mosquito cream on your body, or using a bed net. But you always have to take, as far as I'm concerned, I always insist on taking anti-malaria tablets. So that is the only thing you can do, together with the anti-mosquito cream, a bed net or screen windows. But there is no food which you can take to prevent you from catching malaria. So that is a very good question.
Wow. Oh, we hope, caller, we hope you've been clarified on this issue. So it's coming to every one of us out there that there are no foods that one can take to prevent malaria from coming. But you can use the net or use the, what do you call it, the anti-malaria, anti-mosquito cream, and at the same time take the injections or the tablets.
The tablets. Malaria, you can only take tablets to prevent you from catching malaria. And people know the tablets. Most people know the tablets. We have the tablets, one tablet once a week. They work very well, and you don't get an itch like like the former tablets, the chloroquine, where people got dark-skinned people normally get an itch. So that one doesn't help you anymore. And there is no vaccination against malaria. It's not developed yet. So everybody should be aware of the fact that we really advise to take tablets before you go to Africa.
All right, we have another caller here. Right, yes.
Microphone? I wanted to find out, can the malaria parasites, can they ever be eradicated, like in certain parts of the world, certain diseases have been eradicated? Is it possible that malaria parasites will be eradicated someday?
All I know about it is that they are trying very well, but that means that all the female mosquitoes should be made so that they can't develop eggs anymore, or that they are sterile. But I don't know how many mosquitoes there are in this world. And they used to try to stop it because they used the how do you call it, the poison. They sprayed. They used to spray
insecticide,
the mosquito, the insecticide. But then that is also that was in that time it was also dangerous for the population. So they stopped it. But they are still developing it. They are working very hard on it because so many children die in Africa, especially the small ones, of malaria, that they are really doing a lot of research on that area. But it has not, not at the moment, it's not possible.
Hello, caller.
Good morning.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I want to ask, is it advisable to take a child between 3 months to 6 months to Africa? And if so, what treatment should that child be given? Because a child that cannot take the malaria tablet. So
Yes.
what treatment?
That's a very good one. Thank you, caller. Thank you for this question. Yes, please, can you answer?
Did I understand? She was talking about
A child between 3 to 6 months to Africa, since they cannot take the tablets.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
that is a very good question. For those children, we have capsules, and the capsules are made on the body weight of the baby. And to give it to the baby, you open the capsules, put it on a spoon with some milk.
Capsules.
Capsules, well, there is powder inside it. You open the capsules, put the powder inside, you put it on a spoon, and together with a bit of water or milk or anything, you give it to the baby, and you be sure that the spoon is really empty. So, and then afterwards you give a bit more fluid. But that isn't a problem. But when you try it that way, I always hear it goes very well. And I know in some places in Africa there is this mefloquine drink for babies, but it's not available in Holland. But sometimes you can get it, but I wouldn't count on that. I would just go, you get the capsules made especially on the body weight of the baby, and open it and then put the powder on a spoon and feed it. Well, that is the best way, and it normally works very well. So that is how to do it. So
our caller out there, you have heard it, that you have to open up the capsule and then empty the powdered substance in a spoon, and then mix with milk, or can they mix with honey? Is it possible with honey?
Water. No, at best is water.
Water. All right.
Water is best.
And make sure that the child takes it in, and then that will help to guide to protect the child from malaria. Okay. Right. Another question.
The malaria parasites. Malaria parasites. They are carried by the female mosquito only. Put that caller on hold, please. They are carried.
Caller, please hold on, caller. There's another. Just hold on for 1 minute.
The malaria parasites are carried by the female mosquito. Now, is there anywhere the parasites are it can be located and maybe dealt with separately from the female mosquitoes. Because I'm trying to, we're talking about the parasites being carried by the female mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Now, there are also female mosquitoes here in Holland, for example, who don't carry the parasites. So the parasites are a separate entity from the mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, but
Can we target just the parasites and eradicate them? Is that something that's doable?
no, but the mosquitoes in Holland is
Yeah.
a different type of mosquitoes. You've got a whole bunch of mosquitoes,
Okay.
all different groups, and the group here in Holland doesn't carry malaria.
Yeah.
But in Africa,
Yeah.
the mosquito group does have,
They carry malaria parasite.
Yeah, and they're working very hard on them to see that the parasites are being eliminated.
Eliminated.
But up to now, it's not possible,
Possible yet. Hmm.
Well, caller, please, you can repeat your call because we lost you while we were giving some explanations here. So we are waiting for your call. Now, I want to know, you are related. Okay, hold on. Hello, caller.
Yeah, it's me again, Rama.
Right, it's good, Rama. So.
Yeah, I want to. My next question is that if there is a need for me to go to Africa, for emergency aid, and can I have this treatment in Africa if I couldn't make it here? Can I have it in Africa? Also, the second question is that I'm surprised they said mosquitoes in Holland don't have the malaria parasite because there is a lot of water here,
Yes.
And when he was mentioning, he said in Africa because of the water and etc. that makes the malaria get their eggs or something like that from the water.
Yes.
But here too, they have a lot of water.
You are making a very good point, baby. I'm right behind you.
So I'm surprised that is it that they are treating the water here special, giving the water here special treatment, and that's why the mosquitoes don't have the malaria parasite or what?
No, but it's not only
Thank
the
you
water.
so much for the question, and let's give her the chance to respond, please.
Please, the second question to start with is that, of course, in Holland we do have also a lot of water, but it's not only the water the mosquito needs, it's also the temperature.
Okay.
And the temperature is quite different in Holland from Africa.
Yeah.
So it's too cold here.
So now you are the whole thing is being diverted. So it's becoming from the water logs that you were talking about, dirty water somewhere, and now it's now about temperature. But also we have experienced hot temperature here.
Yeah.
Even sometimes the heat here is more than what we experience in Africa.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that?
That is right. And in former days we used to have malaria here, but that has stopped.
Oh, former days.
Former days.
Oh,
a
really?
long time here.
All
That
right.
was north of Amsterdam. We had some malaria, but that has stopped. But because of changing of the global warming and things like that,
global warming, yes.
maybe we'll get it again.
Okay.
Maybe malaria will. come
Okay,
again.
so the parasites, the parasites were eradicated
Yes.
from here.
It was stopped,
Okay,
yeah.
so
There's
it can go also. So if conditions change, maybe hygiene and also I don't know what else, but wherever these things are breeding
The
in
conditions
West
for
Africa,
the
it can go.
mosquito to breed
Yeah.
are at this moment not good enough to be in Holland.
Yes.
But they are very good, and
In
it's a different type of mosquitoes. They are very good in Africa.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is at this stage, is I think to compare.
Yeah.
The conditions in Africa are much better to develop the parasite than
Than
here.
here.
in Holland.
Okay.
Well, yes.
So well, the first caller made a nice remark. He said, "Then we have to take mosquitoes from here to Africa."
Oh, don't, please. Oh, yeah, no, but that is not, no.
Is that?
All right.
But
Okay. The second
I'm
question.
not an entomologist, So I don't know anything about mosquitoes or things like that. But as far as I know, there is somebody in Wageningen who is doing a lot of research on those mosquitoes.
Well, we would like to have his contact or her contact so that we can hear from her. But the second question she asked is it advisable for her to take the vaccination down there in case she misses it here?
Yeah.
Is it still an option for her?
To take the vaccination for
malaria?
It's not a vaccination.
It's a tablet.
Yeah, if you happen to go to Africa, you should take it's advised to take the malaria tablet. If you live in Africa, that is a different story. Because people say, yeah, but I can't take tablets my whole life. And what we see is people born and brought up in Africa, living in Africa, they don't take the tablets.
Yeah.
Because they suffered from malaria a lot of times.
Yeah.
And they have a bit of immunity against malaria. But if you suffer a lot of malaria in Africa and you're fed up with that, what you could do is take in rainy season, when there are even more mosquitoes, you could start taking the tablets. But in practice, it doesn't work. People don't do that. No.
All right. We will be taking a very short break now, just for you to regroup yourself and then get ready to sign off. However, if you are out there and you have a question during this break period, feel free to give us a call on 02737 1619. Do not forget, this is coming to you live from Radio Voice of Naija, transmitting on 103.8 MHz cable and 105.2 MHz ether. We are back again on our short break, discussing with you this wonderful morning on a topic that has to do with traveling to the tropics with children born overseas with a health officer. Welcome, Mrs. Kalule. Okay, right. We are talking on malaria and the effects of malaria. Would you please tell our audience, malaria patients found here in the Netherlands, and what measures do you take to be sure they do not affect others with it?
Malaria is not transmitted from person to person.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you catch malaria, you can still hug somebody else, because he won't catch malaria from that. It's just a mosquito bite which you need when the parasites are coming into the blood, but it's not contagious from person to person.
Yes, that's the right word.
And that is maybe good to know also. You have to be bitten by a mosquito before you get sick. So if you kiss your partner or you whatever, nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens. No, that is a great mystery also.
Yeah.
Can I touch somebody? Of course you can. You don't catch malaria from kissing or from whatever.
Wow, that's good news.
That is the good news.
Yes, exactly. And you've been talking about malaria Africa. I want to know, is it only peculiar to Africa, or is it also found in other tropics?
It's also found in other tropics, but West Africa, if you go to the figures of WHO, they have a malaria day always, once a year, and there they present all the figures and the facts of malaria. And what you see is that 90% of all the malaria cases reported are from Africa.
Wow.
So that is the
90%, you said?
Yeah, 90%. 90% of the cases of malaria is from Africa. So then, in Africa there is a difference. East Africa, like, has a bit less malaria incidence than West Africa. West Africa is really known for a lot of malaria figures.
And what do you think, from your practice, could be the reason why this high rate? Because you made mention of mosquito, but I think it's not only, yes, you made mention of mosquito. Mosquito bites and the environment.
In West Africa.
And environment.
The environment, yeah, and the roads. well, you can see in underdeveloped countries the roads are not as good as in Holland. So
Yeah.
the roads are bumpy, there are potholes everywhere,
Mhm.
there is a bit of water in there. So those are all spots and bits and pieces where the mosquito, what the mosquito likes.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure is also very important. And if you're on sea level, there the mosquito is. It's not in the mountains, more than 2,500 meters, you won't find mosquitoes because it's too cold there. So all these things makes it that a mosquito has a spot where he really feels himself or herself very happy. And
Really?
it happens to be Africa in West Africa is one of the best places to be for a mosquito, I think.
All right.
I have a question. Are you saying in East Africa you don't have malaria? You do have?
You do have,
What?
but the incident rate
Is higher.
is in West Africa
More than-
higher than
Okay.
in East Africa.
So what explains that? What are the? I mean, the climate in East Africa is
Hotter.
quite different from West Africa.
Or are you?
I don't think it's the climate. Maybe it's the climate plus plus.
Are you saying that they have more infrastructures than those in Africa? After all, those from West Africa are
Depends in which countries you are. In the big cities, normally the infrastructure is
better.
good. But if you go up country, it gets less good.
okay.
And even in the small villages and well, you know, they don't have tarmac roads. There are no tarmac roads there. So it differs from country to country. And the puffiness, of course, helps also. When there is no money, you can't do anything about infrastructure. And the way people are having houses being built is different.
Wow. Well, shortly our time have really far gone, and we will be rounding off in 1 or 2 minutes. But before we round up, I want to ask: is there a way you monitor those who travel with their children to the tropics, without taking their vaccination? And how do you deal with them?
The advice we always give: if you know you're going to Africa in about say 6 weeks, do come as early as you can, because then you can save the money for other things. Then you have the money for the vaccinations. You have to start with the malaria tablet 3 weeks before departure. So it's important you come in time. And of course there are always reasons to come on last minute when you go to a funeral or anything. But it's also always wise to come and seek advice. Even if you're late, it's always wise to seek advice, pre-travel advice. So do come as early as you can. If not, come as soon as you can.
Okay. Right. Any question inside? Okay. We will be rounding up, but what information or what's the last word you want to speak before we sign off now to our audience? How would you want them to remember this day and your visit here?
You always want to have a very nice visit to Africa, also for the children. And it's very good to go there, but realize that Africa is a totally different country than Holland is, and don't underestimate it, even if you are born there. The risks for your children are very different from your own risk. So do seek travel advice and go prepared on the road, and then you'll have a very nice holiday or stay in Africa.
Thank you.
I want you to repeat what we were discussing in the break about the immunity, how it changes within 6 months, every 6 months.
People born and brought up in Africa, if they travel and they do have a bit of immunity, but people who have lived here for say 15 years before going back to Africa, I always tell people, you are as white as I am, because your immunity has almost gone to zero. And that happens already after 6 months of stay here in Holland. So don't underestimate even the risks for yourself as far as malaria is concerned. Don't underestimate.
Well, we have come to the end of this broadcast, and we want to say thank you to Mrs. Kalule, Dussel Dorop, and Mevra de Jong Smith for being with us today on our Radio Voice of Naija Good Morning Show. See you some other time and bye. But for our listeners, should you have more questions and you want to meet Mevra Kalule or Mevra de Jong, please, you can go to Tropics Centrum in Amsterdam.
AMC Hospital.
AMC Hospital.
And you can always ring there.
And
ask for Kalule. And it's an easy name.
Yes, and the telephone number?
It's Amsterdam 566-3800.
Amsterdam 566-3800. And the name is Mevra Kalule. God richly bless you and stay tuned. Now take the news.